What's up, y'all? This is C, and I'm coming to you today with my first review for one of my favorite shows, Love After Lockup, that you can find on WETV. Not only is this my first review for Love After Lockup, it's my first review, period. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and so we'll go ahead and get started. The episode starts out with a couple that I think will probably give us a little bit, but not a whole lot this season, and that's Chevelle and Quaylon, depending on who you ask. And it starts out with Chevelle and Quaylon's mom sitting outside the prison gates, anxiously awaiting for Quaylon to come out of the prison. And when he comes out, of course, his mom runs and jumps into his arms. And I mean, she's just so happy to see her baby because he was gone, I believe, 12 years. He got locked up when he was 17, and now he's 29 and he's out. So, mom thinks that Quaylon is coming to Texas with her because he has told her that he's coming to Texas with her. But Chevelle believes that he is gonna come to Kansas City. I want to say Kansas City, Missouri. I believe that's where she's from. I'm not sure. They didn't give us a whole lot from them this episode, but Chevelle is eventually gonna want answers because Quaylon seems to be telling her one thing and he's telling Mama something else. So we'll have to wait to see how that story unfolds. And then it goes to Christiana and John, aka Mr. Eagle Wing. That Eagle Wing that he had in that first episode, that tripped me out. I don't really know what that was about, but I guess, it was a part of his Native American culture or whatever, so we'll let him have it. But he swooped Christiana up from prison and kind of sprung this surprise engagement upon her and a shotgun wedding to which she agreed upon. And that kind of blew me. I didn't think that she would do that right away, just because wasn't she the one saying that she wasn't in love with him? She loved him, but she wasn't in love with him just because they hadn't been physical or anything yet. But anyway, they go and they have the ceremony, and it was the native ceremony, so I guess they can't divorce or whatever. But they go, and now she is totally off schedule. She is late, trying to get to the halfway house. Even with him going 80 miles per hour, they think that now she'll still be like 30 minutes late making it to the halfway house, which I don't know much about the rules of, parole or prison, but I could imagine that your PO is not going to be pleased with you showing up your first day late. So we'll see how that goes. But they do this ceremony, and she's having to change her clothes in the car when they're done because John is having to speed down the highway to get her here. And then he's all lost, doesn't know if he was supposed to go east or west, and it's just high tension. And so she calls her mom, and I'm like, okay, that voice, that's probably a God-given voice, or her and her mom smoked a ton of cigarettes, because her mom's voice was huskier. It was huskier than hers. And her mom, basically, she seemed like she's over Christiana shit. Like, she, is used to Christiana doing crazy stuff. Because when she told her mama she got married, her mama was like, yeah. I was like, oh, you ain't had no questions? You didn't want to know about who she married or but hey, her mama probably over Christiana shit. And then when Christiana was like, I love you, her mama didn't respond. So I'm like, okay, yeah, mama tired of her. So they get to the town, and I didn't get the name of the town, but it's the town that Christiana was from, and she got into a lot of trouble in, but that's where her halfway house is, so she had to report there. They get to the town 30 minutes late, I believe, and then they show up to the halfway house a whole hour late. So I have no idea how that's gonna turn out, and neither does she. They're nervous when they're walking into the halfway house, but we'll see how that story unfolds as the season progresses. And then next, Lindsay and Scott. Now, Lindsay and Scott, this story, I already have a feeling how it's gonna turn out, but I'm I'm gonna enjoy watching it. It's just wild. They are in Mississippi, and I live in Mississippi. We're close to the same area, but it's still a little drive. But it this episode starts with Scott still at the airport. He's looking around. He's watching all the people come off the plane. Person after person after person, and still no Lindsay. So finally, I think he sees like a flight attendant, and she's standing in the doorway, and it looks like she may be talking to somebody else. And then she turns back forward, and boom, cuts the light out. So, damn, where is Lindsay? So, the producer, and these producers are too petty. They come, and he's like, well, do you think she might have got off the plane and you didn't see her? Um, do you think that, what do you think could have happened? And so Scott's like, well, I don't know, but I need to find out. And he's walking around, and he's asking people. He even grabbed the pilot and was like, was there a Lindsay on the plane? I'm like, they would really know, but they're like, I don't know, I guess not. And so he was, asking the bag staff. I mean, he was asking anybody who would listen if they saw Lindsay, or if she was on the plane, but she wasn't on the plane, bottom line. So he goes and he tries to call the prison. Well, naturally, it's nighttime, and the administrative staff or whoever were gone home for the day, and so they told him, look, you need to call back tomorrow between 6 a.m. and 2 to get an answer whether or not she's still here or not, because we can't tell you that information right now. So he was getting all snippy and getting an attitude. So he goes to Larry, the Hummer limo driver, and he tells him, she wasn't on the plane. So Larry's like, well, damn, man. All right. So he was like, well, I guess, you can take me back to the hotel or whatever. So they go to the hotel. Now, keep in mind, in the previous episode, he bought, all that extra food. He bought steaks, a cake, and flowers. He went all out, did the whole nine. And so he didn't want the food to go to waste. So he had a steak dinner with Larry, the limo driver. And Larry is me. I would have been trying to get the tea, trying to figure out, what's going on. Larry like, well, do you think that, do you think that it's a scam? Do you think, she's using you or whatever? And Scott was like, well, no, I don't think she's using me, because, I had met her mother, her daughter. I'm like, okay, so what that mean? She had to have you buy into the scam, some way. And so Larry like, all right, well, it does just seem weird, as he cutting into the steak and eating the steak. That steak did look pretty good. But I there's a piece of me that kind of feels bad for Scott, a teeny piece, because I guess, with him losing his child, as we learned before, he probably feels like, this is an instant family for him, something that he had lost, and now he got back, this young, beautiful woman that he probably couldn't have gotten without money, but you know, he got her, you know, a daughter, a mother-in-law, all of this kind of wrapped into one, a potential mother-in-law. But something tells me that this story just is not going to end well. But again, we'll have to see about that. And so another one that I'm looking forward to is Shonda and Tyrese. And I don't know why I almost called him Tyrese, and I think that's just because of how his name is spelled. But Mr. Pelly Pelly Leather Coat from the Chi, he from Chicago, he got with his family because I guess he hadn't been all the way real with them, letting them know about Shonda or where she is or how they met. But he gets his daughter and his son together, and it was somebody else. I'm not sure who the other guy was. I don't know if it was, he was probably, I don't know if he was another family member or a friend or whatever, but anyway, it's four of them together. And so, you know, Tyrese tells his family, you know, well, yeah, y'all know, I kind of been seeing somebody, and uh, you know, her name is Shonda, and blah blah blah. So the kid's like, yeah, we kind of, you know about it a little bit. So he like, yeah, well, it was some stuff I didn't, you know, tell y'all about Shonda. You know, she's in prison. And the son was like, in prison? And then he was like, yeah, she white. The son was like, white? And so I was like, damn, they had a problem with the white girl. So he was like, well, it's he was like, you got a problem because she white? He was like, no, it don't matter that she white. You know, he kind of reined it back in. But he was like, yeah, she 28. And, you know, he tried to brush over it. And the son like, 28? I'm 28. You know, the son had a problem with it. And the daughter, you know, she fake had a problem with it. She was kind of mad, but she wasn't as mad as I would have expected her to be about somebody seeing her father in prison. And then, you know, they were asking him, you know, do you think that she's using you because she is only 28 years old and here you are old? Well, how old was Tyrese? Was he 49? I'm not sure. I need to go back and see his age, but obviously he's quite older than her if he has a child her age. But all that doesn't matter to him because she looked good and she got a big old ass, and that's what he is. He is enamored by her big old ass. He said it last episode. He said it this episode. He was trying to find some lingerie for Shonda and her big old ass, you know, earlier in the episode. But, you know, the kids they're not really with it. They like, nah, I ain't for this. I think that, you know, she might be using you. How do you know, that she's legit? You know, how long was she in prison? You know, they had questions at this point, as they should, because their dad, you know, who's pretty well to do, you know, you meet a woman in prison. How do you meet her in prison? And he, you know, just told him, you know, he was lonely and he wanted to find love, and he thinks that he found that in Shonda. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes because I think that her family, his family, I'm sorry, they're gonna have a problem with Shonda and her big old ass. So we'll see. And then we move on to old Destiny and Scott. I mean Sean. Destiny and Sean. Well, he picks her up from the prison, and you know, she was happy to see him, jumped in his arms, and you know, they hugged and had this awkward kiss and whatnot. So Destiny's just happy to be on the outside. You know, she is eating the food and everything that Sean had prepared for her, and they're on their way to actually meet with her mom and her sister. And they're at a restaurant waiting for Sean and Destiny to get there. So when they get there, you know, something about Destiny it doesn't say all the way sober to me. I think that she was probably, getting drugs on the inside. She was definitely getting liquor on the inside, because she sat there and told them about the hooch and how, she didn't like the drink that the restaurant prepared for her. She preferred the hooch with the Sierra Mist that she had on the inside when she was locked up. So I know that, she wasn't all the way legit in prison. And so, the mom and the sister are happy to see her, and they have questions, of course, because they see Sean, and Sean obviously looks older than Destiny. I mean, not really, but because her hard life is probably catching up to her, but you can see that there's an obvious age difference between the two. So they get to the restaurant, and um, she Sean mentions in his confessional again about this secret that he needs to tell Destiny, and he doesn't know how she's gonna take it. And I'm thinking that it was something else, that we probably didn't know that he was gonna disclose or share, but it looks like he probably was dishonest to her, and he told the mom when Destiny and the sister went to the bathroom, because Destiny wanted to change clothes. She wanted to get out of her prison sweats. So he tells the mom that he thinks, she says, okay, so how many, children do you have? She's kind of questioning him, wanting to, know about him. And so he says, well, I have 6. And so she said, 6? She said, well, I thought, Destiny said you had 2. And so he's like, well, yeah, she doesn't know that I really have 6 children. I wasn't sure, what we would turn into, so I didn't really, keep it all the way real with her in the beginning. And so she still believes that I have 2 children. I don't really know how that really makes much of a difference. 6 kids is a lot, but Sean obviously appears to be the type that takes care of his children. So I don't really know why or how, or even if that'll be an issue. But he tells her that he he has 6 kids, and so I guess, she's waiting on him to let Destiny know. And I honestly feel like, because Destiny was in the bathroom at first, she was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Vegas with him because I want to see where, this could go. And then in the next breath, she goes, well, I kind of, don't know if I'm really ready to settle down yet. I think reality kind of set in for her at that moment. And she's like, okay, well, I'm free now. He was just something for me to do, or a sponsor for me while I was on the inside. So now I'm free. I'm going to just go see, what else I can get into. So I'm already seeing that it's going to be a problem. And something is telling me that she's probably going to use the fact that he has 6 children, as a reason to kind of dump him, or a reason not to have to deal with him anymore now that she is out of prison. So we'll go ahead and wait to see how this turns out. But I'm thinking that they probably will not make it to the next season, because I think that she's going to be happy to be on the outside and probably going to get back in trouble again, because Destiny doesn't seem like the type that follows rules. And like they like to say, she can't complete probation. So we'll see how that goes. And lastly, we have old Maurice and Jessica. Maurice was trying to get his parole. He was trying to get paroled to Vegas instead of California or LA, where he's from. And so they take the wedding certificate and everything, and they take it to the PO's office to kind of let them know, okay, my wife is in Vegas, our life is there, well, her life is there, I'm just gonna go there because that's where she's from, and plead their case to see if the PO would, would transfer, or if they would allow it to transfer. So he walks in, kind of unsure, kind of uneasy, and he goes in, and of course, they tell him initially no. And they told him that it's a process, you got to apply, and then they have to review it. And this process could take from start to finish up to 60 days. So he would have to spend 2 months in LA, which he's kind of worried about. And so is Jessica, because, he's going to be in the environment that he, was getting into trouble in, and what got him arrested in the first place. So he was saying that, so many of his friends and, his people had passed on and, died or whatever, because, during his stay, he's seen so many people come and go, and, he saw his daughter grow up through pictures, and that was kind of heartbreaking to him. So a part of him seems like, he wants to do the right thing and, stay out of prison. But another part of him at the same time was like, nah, forget that. We going to Vegas, drive. And Jessica's like, what? So I'm like, okay, you about to take the chance to end right back up where you just left, the place where you said you didn't want to go back to, but whatever. So Jessica, in her confessional, she was saying how she was worried that, if he goes back to that life, or if he has to stay there, that he's going to get in trouble, and she doesn't want that to happen for him. She doesn't want to be away from her husband for 2 months if she doesn't have to be. So when their story left off with him just telling her to drive. So we'll see if she does drive, or if she tells him, nah, we about to stay here, we gonna do this the right way. And so that seemed to be the whole episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed my first review. Of course, they'll get better as time goes along. Right now, this is my first one. If y'all hear nature outside, that's because I'm outside. I'm sitting under the gazebo. It's a little, my house has the potential to get a little loud, so I came outside to do it, and hopefully it was good enough for you guys to want to come back. So feel free to subscribe. And I thank you all, and have a good day. Peace.